Jeff Van Gundy back here on the show. Would you sit down Durant and just have a conversation, just a one-on-one, look him in the eye, what's going on with your calf?
I think he's probably – I think the communication between coach and player doesn't have to be as formal as something like that. I think you have – I'm sure he's had everyday communication. And so I think, when you've coached this guy 3 years, I think you have a good handle on who he is and how you best deal with him. And obviously this has been, I'm sure, stressful for Durant too, because he realizes their ability to compete at the highest level, despite what some in the media were trying to paint at during, the Portland series, that they may be better without Durant. I think Durant understands, and the Warriors understand, that when you're playing at the highest level, you need your best players, not just there, but playing well. And so I'm sure the stress on Durant, knowing that much of the fate of this series depends on him and his health, I'm sure it's been hard for him.
Well, I mean, don't you think that the 4 games of the NBA Finals have put that supposition that you were hearing about, that a lot we're talking about in that Blazers series, that they're better off without Durant or they're no worse without Durant? Don't you think that's put this to bed, Jeff?
Well, I already thought it was to bed. I don't even think it got a room in my house to even think about. The thing is, Rich, and it just shows you perspective. When Toronto played at a higher percentage of winning percentage without Leonard this year in the 22 games that he missed than he played in. Mm-hmm. So they played better without Leonard than with Leonard in the regular season. No one was saying, you know what, I think we're going to be a little bit better without him in the playoffs. But for some reason, the media, either they don't know or they go for the drama. They paint these pictures that, no one in basketball would say, oh, yeah, the way to get better, lose Durant. Did that work out for Oklahoma City? Has it worked out so far for Golden State? No, it doesn't work that way. This guy is an elite talent who is so improved as a passer and a handler, and he's such a great shot creator. There's no guarding him in the half court. So he can go and get you a shot where at times where you need a guy. And then defensively, he's able to compete against multiple different positions. So their depth, as we know, has been compromised over the years. The depth of their talent, if you put up the roster from their first championship season to now, it is absolutely night and day, the drop-off in overall depth. So what they win with is star power. But if one of the stars is out, it makes it difficult. And if another star is compromised in Klay Thompson, even harder. So these are real issues that can't be overcome with talk or, thinking somehow you take an elite talent out and, no coach believes in that whole, next man up. If the next man up was as good as the guy up, we pay him the same amount.
I love it. It's true, Jeff. I just think that in the talk industry, sports talk industry, of which your network is part, I sit behind this mic 3 hours a day, so I think about this all the time. I just think that so many folks in the sports talk industry cannot get over the fact that Durant left Oklahoma City for Golden State, and that affects his legacy forevermore and will always affect it until he decides to do something else. I don't believe that. And I think that's why everybody's reading into that 4-game sweep without Durant was something that writ large means the Warriors don't need him. Tell me cry me that river July 1st. I mean, that's insane. That is just, to me, insane, Jeff.
Right. So I agree with you. I think Durant's leaving Oklahoma City. I can understand people saying they didn't like his decision. And as fans, they have every reason or every right to say that, hey, I don't agree with that. While we acknowledge his right to do whatever he wants in free agency, I, as Joe fan, think I would have rather him stayed in Oklahoma City. Okay, that's one thing. But to then take that and morph it into a team is actually better without Durant, that's just silly. And if you were watching the Portland series closely, yes, they swept, but it covered up the fact that they got down big in games 2, 3, and 4 and beat a Portland team that was also beat up with Nurkic being out. And so the Warriors, as most teams do, a lot of this is who's the healthiest in sport. And they've had some breaks along the way in this great run that they've had in the playoffs with guys for other teams missing. Now they're on the wrong end of it, and Toronto's benefiting from a health advantage. So I just think sometimes it's simpler than we make it. And when you look out there and you watch Kevin Durant play, if you don't say, hey, this guy's one of the great players to have ever played this game, then you're overlooking his greatness for a different narrative because you don't like something about him.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.